Welcome back to another episode of the Del Hollow Lake Podcast, where we give you the down low on all things Del Hollow. Today, I have a very special guest, Mr. Tom from Sunset. So, Tom, great to have you on. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, thanks for the invite, Bailey.
Of course. So, let's just start from the beginning. Are you local to Del Hollow, or where are you from originally? Like, what's your hometown?
My mother is a native of Pickett County, Tennessee.
Okay.
And so I spent a lot of time in Pickett County. My father was from Albany, Kentucky. And so it was quite popular back then in the 60s for people to date across state lines. So, and it still is today. So I'm a product of a Albany, Kentucky father and a Pickett County, Tennessee native. So I claim both places as my home.
You're not partial to either one?
No, not really. I spent a lot of time in both and grew up on Del Hollow Lake and spent a lot of time on the Kentucky side of Del Hollow, the Tennessee side, and I just consider both of them home.
Fair enough. Did you go to high school in Pickett County?
Went to high school in Clinton County, Kentucky,
okay.
Just across the line, and went to college at University of Kentucky. So I've spent more time in Kentucky, but because of my mom's family in Pickett County, I've spent a considerable amount of time in my childhood in Pickett County. So I claim to be native, even though I was born in Kentucky.
I'd say you're still native, but are you a Cat fan still?
I'm a Wildcat fan, but they're not having a good year. So
I mean, Tennessee's having a good year.
Tennessee's having a great year, and I think Tennessee will go far this year.
I hope so. Better than Kentucky, but
absolutely.
So when did you start working at Sunset? Because I know you started young, right?
Well, I don't remember my age, but if I make it till October of this year, it'll be 30 years.
That's impressive.
This is our 30th season, and been very blessed to be there since 1993.
Shoot. So was it your first job out of high school? Or?
No, I had a few jobs out of college. I was in the military when I got the call from my partner, Tony Sloan, to see if I wanted to be a partner and invest in Sunset. He had an option to buy the marina back in 1993, and I was actually working as a pharmaceutical sales representative at the time and still in the National Guard. I was a captain in the Army National Guard, Combat Engineer Unit, and so when I got the call, and I'd always wanted to come back home around Del Hollow Lake. Del Hollow's I consider it my home, and I always had a vision of coming back and locating somewhere around Del Hollow. So it was kind of neat that Tony called and had an option to buy a marina and in my home area, in my native area, and so I took a while to consider it and think about it. My wife was pregnant, and I guess the pharmaceutical sales job was my first big boy job, I'll call it. So it was a little difficult to think just 2 years into my first job that I would make a career change, but I felt like the opportunity was good, and I had grown up working in the marina business on Lake Cumberland. I'd worked for my partner Tony Sloan for years as a summertime employee down on the docks on Lake Cumberland, where he had a family business, Grider Hill Dock, Grider Hill Marina, and worked over there. So the marina business was kind of in my blood, and I felt like it was a great opportunity, and 30 years later, I'm glad I took the opportunity, and we've been very blessed.
So at that time, did you live in Kentucky when he offered you the partnership here? Did you have to think about moving back to, or were you here?
Well, we had just completed our first home. We had built a home overlooking Lake Cumberland, actually, in Somerset, Kentucky.
Yeah.
And so that made the decision a little more difficult. We were in our first job out of college and built a home and only lived in it 6 months. We were starting a family. Like I said, my wife Angela was pregnant, so the decision was a little bit challenging because we felt like we had establish some things. But there was a lot going on Del Hollow Lake. There was a new bridge being built across the Sunset Boat Dock. And that's the reason the previous owner was selling out. Miss Mildred Harrison, she did not want to see a marina bridge built across her Sunset Dock property, and so when I looked at the long range possibilities of Sunset, looked at my partner Tony Sloan's history and track record in developing marinas, and I felt like it was with a new road going in, Highway 111 opening up. I felt like the marina business and recreational boating was going to prosper over the next several years, and I felt like my wife and I needed to jump in and become a partner in the business and enable us to be business owners and work in a job that we enjoy and in a place we want to be. We're very blessed. If you live anywhere in Kentucky and Tennessee, I think you're blessed, and we just live and work in a great place.
So what year was that? What year did you make that decision? You said 93.
1993.
That's when you made the decision.
Yes.
Did he buy it that same year?
He exercised his option and bought the marina October of 1993. And that's, like I say, this October it'll be 30 years that we've been at Sunset Marina.
I'd say it's a very good decision. It's came quite a ways.
Well, it has. The Harrisons had built a fishing camp and had cabins, but they didn't have any marina facilities on the water. And boating has, nothing shows the prosperity of the country like recreational boating. The Harrisons had plywood boats and rented boats and motors and cabins and had a fishing camp but at the time that we bought Sunset, recreational boating had changed tremendously into larger boats, faster boats, houseboats, cruisers, pontoons, and there was a very, very high demand for boat slips on the water. People want to keep their boat on the water where it's convenient for them to use it and come down to the lake. And so there was just a lot of opportunity there, and we've tried over the last 30 years to meet the need of the recreating public. And as you know, marinas lease the land and water that is necessary to operate a marina, lease the land and water from the Army Corps of Engineers. And that lease document challenges marina operators to serve the public, to meet the need of the recreational boaters. So when we bought Sunset Marina, the need was great. The need for boat slips was great. The need for improved facilities on the water was great. So we've just always taken the approach that if we meet the need, if we meet what the public is asking for, if we meet what's in demand, then hopefully we'll be successful. And the good Lord's really blessed us at Sunset for 30 years, and I think the demand's still strong.
Oh, absolutely.
I think it's very strong, and we've been very pleased with what we've accomplished. But we've been blessed with great customers and great employees, and it's just been a very rewarding career.
And if I'm not wrong, you said you got it in 93. Wasn't it like a couple years later that it burnt down? Like you guys had just started building?
Well, we built a 20,000 square foot floating facility in 93, started building it, and had it operational in June of 1994. And so yes, 2.5 years later, which would have been November of 96, we lost that facility to fire. It was November 13th of 1996, and my wife and I were, the marina was shut down and winterized. So we were doing some construction work on it. We were doing some staining and some work there, and it's really unknown what happened to our first floating facility, but that was a very, very big setback, financially and mentally and physically. It was a very big challenge to get back into business. But after we got over the shock and the grief of losing a brand new facility to an unknown cause, we got a plan to get back in business, and we built the new present day facility rather quickly, and we were back in business, at least on the marina side, not necessarily the restaurant side, but we were back in business by May of 1997.
Well, that's pretty quick turnaround for 20,000 square foot. I felt like
it was a very fast turnaround. But as you know, in the marina business, your store and your office and your restaurant are kind of the nucleus, kind of
it's vital.
The operation center of your entire marina. So we knew we had to get that facility rebuilt, and we just kind of put everything on hold. And we had some material, building material in stock that we were going to build some houseboat slips that winter. And so fortunately we regrouped and rediverted our materials and our resources and our efforts to rebuilding after that devastating fire. And that you got a good memory. That was a very challenging period in our career.
When we suffered through the flooding, it's not the same because we got to salvage a lot of it, but it still hurts. So I couldn't imagine like a 20,000 square foot facility just going up, especially being 9 months after it was built.
Right.
Did it ever occur to you, like, with that happening, with your background at the University of Kentucky and what your degree was in, did you ever think maybe it's time to back out, or was you full and was like, we're going to fix it?
There was many thoughts about maybe this challenge is too big, maybe this mountain's too big to climb, and maybe we just weren't cut out for the marina business. Who knows why something like that happens? But yes, there was a lot of thoughts of, I don't want to rebuild. It took every fiber of our being, emotionally, physically, and everything else to build the first marina, which was a pretty big challenge. And so when we lost it shortly, after operating for 2 seasons, there was a lot of thoughts about, I don't want to do this again. I don't want to rebuild what it took us, and of course, you never have enough insurance for a loss like that. No. And you never have any idea what all is accumulated in a building, from pencils and calculators and just everything you have to replace when you lose a building to fire, and that is it kind of breaks my heart every time I see somebody lose a house or lose any kind of facility to fire, because once you've been through it, you don't want to go through it again, and you really feel for people that have to undergo some type of loss like that.
It's a terrible thing. I remember probably 3 or 4 years ago, we were working down here on the dock, and I live like 2 minutes away from here. Like, I grew up 2 minutes away. My parents live up top. My grandparents live up top of the hill. And we got a call saying my grandma's house was on fire. So I went up there to try to help, and you can't. Like, once it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah.
So me and Nathan actually ended up joining the volunteer fire department here because of that, just because it's terrifying.
Right.
And if you don't have anyone out here, it can just go up in seconds. Kind of like almost kind of what happened to you guys, because once it's up, it's up.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to get back.
Yeah.
So I can understand it's terrifying.
Well, the good Lord kind of put the loss of the building into perspective, because I told you my wife was pregnant with our daughter, Mackenzie, and she had been born in April of '96, that same year.
Yeah.
And so she was very young, and this was the first time we had left her at home. We left her at our house with our mother while we went to a marina conference up in Louisville, Kentucky. So we were away when the fire occurred, and we were having dinner at this conference and meeting, and someone came around and laid a note in front of me that said, "Emergency, call home." And So all we could think about was my daughter.
Yeah.
And being the first time we'd left her at home. And so it was just a little bit of relief when we finally got through on the phone, because cell phones wasn't a thing,
Yeah.
And we were on a payphone there in this hotel, and couldn't get through. My mother was talking to other people, but because she had been notified that the marina was on fire, and so the whole time we were thinking it probably was only 10 or 15 minutes, but it seemed like an eternity we were trying to get through on the phone. And when we finally got through, after several minutes of panicking and thinking something's wrong with our daughter, there's an emergency, when they said, the marina's a total loss, it's burnt. Once we realized our daughter was okay, well, it kind of, I think there's a good Lord's way of putting things in perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's a devastating loss, but there was no injuries, no loss of life, and so good Lord blessed us, gave us strength to rebuild, and here we are today.
And speaking of your daughter, did she not get married on your marina?
She did. She had a wedding, a September wedding at the marina, I think 5-6 years ago, and married a very fine young man, Noah Barrett. He was in the Air Force at the time, still in the Air Force, but he has transitioned from a full-time career with the Air Force to a part-time career, and he and my daughter both are back in Pickett County, back here in Tennessee, helping us in the marina business.
That's your daughter's full-time job, correct?
Yes.
She helps you guys?
Mm-hmm.
And then you said his part-time job.
Right.
So their wedding, was it in the marina? Was it on the dock? Was it on the restaurant? Where was it at?
It was on a platform out in front of the marina, next to the flagpole.
Okay.
And obviously they had it kind of a very non-traditional wedding, because my daughter had grown up in the marina business and she knew how valuable the weekends were. Most
Yeah.
weddings occur on the weekend, and but she had hers on a Thursday afternoon at sunset when the sun was setting, and she was looking out for the business. She said, I didn't want to interrupt the business on a weekend, so but it was a neat ceremony, and the rain and clouds were threatening to kind of ruin the ceremony, and there was another blessing I can remember. The skies opened up and the clouds moved out just barely right in time for them to have the wedding out by the flagpole at the marina.
And it's good luck to have rain on your wedding day, isn't it?
I've heard that, but I've heard a lot of wives' tales, so I don't know.
We'll go with it at least.
Yeah.
And then when you guys got the marina, say after you got it rebuilt in '97, you say it was completely rebuilt. Did you guys start campgrounds then? Was there already campgrounds there? Because I know you guys do campgrounds. You have the swim area. You've got houseboats. You've got rental boats.
Actually, that's a misconception. We are located right near the Obi River Recreation Area.
Okay.
But we do not. Sunset does not operate the campground or the beach. That is operated by the Army Corps of Engineers.
I did not know that.
We're blessed to be a neighbor of that facility, a very fine facility. Camping right at water's edge, a swimming beach. Thousands and thousands of visitors every year. Very fine facility, but because of our proximity right next door to that facility, well, a lot of people feel that Sunset operates that or owns it or something, but we're just very blessed to be neighbors and to be next door, and we do serve the customers, the camping customers and the swimming beach customers, and a lot of them come over for ice cream and come over for a meal in the restaurant, and a lot of the campers rent boat slips from us for the weekend or the week when they're there. But we do not own or operate that facility. Just blessed to be close neighbors.
And then you guys are known for that ice cream. How did that start?
Well, hand-dipped ice cream has just been kind of a staple there at the marina for years, and from the very beginning when we saw the popularity of it, people come from from all the marinas at all ends of the lake to come up and get some hand dipped ice cream. And over the years, we've thought about offering soft serve or some other things, but we just can't. The public won't let us get away from that good hand dipped ice cream.
Oh, even in high school, people were talking about it because I went to school in Livingston, and people always talked about the ice cream at Sunset, and I never knew why that was a thing. But you guys are known for it. It's that. I've got a couple of things. You guys are known for that. You guys are known for now. You guys have the steel coop that does your restaurant.
Yes.
Did you guys operate it before they came over?
Well, we operated the restaurant in-house, from our own staff and our own facility for 18 years. And once the marina got very sizable and very large, we found operating the marina and the restaurant was quite a challenge. And we had someone that approached us about leasing it and operating it for us on our behalf. And so we went that route about 9 years ago. And the steel coop out of Livingston is our current leaseholder on the restaurant, and this will be their third. 2023 will be their third year operating the restaurant, and we've been very pleased with their partnership. They're a very good group of people to work with, and they feel like we do, that we're under the same roof, we're in this together, and they've been very cooperative, and we just enjoy working with the steel coop.
What does that give you an opportunity to work on more now that you don't have to worry about the restaurant as much? I'm sure you still worry about it all the time.
Well, like I say, we're under the same roof, so we do feel like it's a part of our marina, and we do take pride in it, but it enables us to focus on the marina and the great customers we have in the marina. We have boat owners that have kept a boat there for 30 years, and some of them now have multiple boats. Some of them have a boat and they're in their 60s, and their kids have a boat and their grandkids have a boat, and so a lot of boaters and families have grown up at Sunset. We've seen multiple generations get into boating, and it's very neat to see folks that started vacationing at Sunset, in the 50s, 60s, 70s. A lot of them and their families still there today, and just so neat to see generations grow up in boating and fishing and enjoying the great outdoors.
Especially the biggest marina on the lake.
Yeah.
You guys started off so small, and now legitimately the biggest one. Do you know how many slips you guys rent out, whether that be houseboat slips or personal boats? Or
Well, we like to refer to it as harbor capacity, and harbor capacity to us is how many vessels can be in your marina at one time. And we're between 550 and 600 vessels if you count everything from a large houseboat down to a personal watercraft. We've got some platforms for personal watercrafts to be docked on, and of course some of our slips we reserve about 100 slips for transient overnight rental. That takes care of our cabin guests. A lot of the campers over at Obie River Campground rent the slips, or just people that rent maybe a vacation home around the lake. They can call in or go on our website, our online reservations, and reserve a slip for 2 or 3 nights, and keep their boat, down there on the water while they're vacationing in a rental home nearby.
So you said there's about 100 you keep for that. The other 400, are they pretty packed out? Are they pretty booked out?
Well, the last few years they've been full, yes. We've been blessed to have all of our yearly slips full for the last several years. And, a lot of people say, oh, Sunset's got a long waiting list. You're not going to get a slip there. And we try to caution people about that, because waiting lists don't always are not always as long as they appear to be. And even though you might have a long waiting list to get a slip, once a slip opens up, someone sells their boat and decides to, give up their boat slip. We may go to our list, and the first 20 people we call, they've sold their boat or they no longer want to slip or whatever. So we do want to encourage people not to give up on getting a slip, even though some people feel like we've got a long waiting list. Sometimes we're able to accommodate people rather quickly and get them in a slip. But a lot of it depends on what size slip they're interested in, because some of their slips are very high demand, and the very smaller slips for the bass boats and the smaller boats, they're not as in high demand right now as the 24 to 30 foot long pontoon slips. Those seem to be the pontoon boats have just they've just expanded tremendously to become the most popular boat on the water. Pontoons or tri-toons. Now they've got 3 toons under them, and they're called tri-toons. And the popularity of tri-toons has just been phenomenal over the last few years.
And then how many, you guys rent out tri-toons, don't you? Do you rent out pontoons? How many rental boats do you have?
We have a total rental fleet of 50 boats, and that
way
counts.
More than I thought.
That counts 10 houseboats, about 20 pontoon, tri-toon boats. We've got some John boats. We've got some personal watercraft, and we've got some runabouts or ski boats. You can ski behind them. We've got about 6 runabouts that we rent out, and I would say the rental fleet has. Certainly the last 3 years since the pandemic has been the most popular thing on our property, because everybody has tried to find a way to get out and enjoy the great outdoors, and that rental fleet of small boats, pontoons, and runabouts has just been phenomenal.
Do you have one that rents more than the others?
Well, I think right now, popularity changes from time to time, and public demand changes from time to time. But right now, I think the tri-toon, the 24-foot tri-toon, is probably the most popular boat. Get about 10 people on it. It's got a motor that's powerful enough to ski or tube behind the boat. The engine is quiet enough you can talk and visit with your family while the engine's running. You can picnic on it. You got plenty of room. So the 24-foot tri-toon is just really a very versatile and very popular boat.
And as far as renting it, do you have to call in? Can you do it online, or is it a mixture?
Well, both. You can. We do all of our reservations online, but that doesn't mean we don't personally take reservations. When you call in, our staff simply goes to our online booking and makes an online reservation for you. So, but you can do it yourself online, or you can call in, and if you're doing it yourself online, it will guide you through and tell you what boats are available and what days are available, and that was a necessity that was born out of the pandemic, because we went from 2 phone lines when the pandemic hit. We went from 2 phone lines to 8 phone lines. We had to go to the local phone company and get an extra bank of lines just to be able to take reservations, because the pandemic really made outdoor recreation and recreational boating and fishing and so popular that we had to adapt, and we expanded the number of phone lines, and we went to online reservations at that time, and now we are able to. We have downsized the number of phone lines because so many people like to make their own reservations now, and so the online reservations have become very popular. We do that for cabins, we do it for houseboats, we do it for small boat rentals, we do it for overnight boat slips, and it's been very popular, and the public finds it very easy to do. And for those that don't like dealing with online computer stuff, they can call in, and we can do it over the phone as well.
And then how have you seen it change in the number of employees roughly from the time you started to now? Because I feel like it's had to grow exponentially.
Well, it has grown, and it's just been a natural progression, of increase, because as the marina grows and has grown, our employee base has grown, and when you take the marina store employees, the housekeepers that we have to clean our cabins and houseboats, the summertime seasonal help that we get to work the fuel dock and to help rent out the 50 boat rental fleet that we have, and coupled with the restaurant, which we talked about is leased out to a third party. But when you couple the entire operation together, in the peak summer, we're over 100 employees now, and obviously we started out with 2 employees, me and my wife, and 30 years ago, and so as recreational boating has grown, so has the need for good employees, and we've been very blessed with a great group of folks. We've got some that have been with us almost as long as we've been there, 30 years and going on 30 years, and we've got several employees that are over 20 years employment, and we like to try to retain good employees, and we've been very blessed in that regard.
Do you divide them up? I know you said, like, with your cabins, you have some of the same people who clean the cabins that clean the houseboats. Is it kind of, once you come on, it's a team effort? Like we here, if you work the gas dock, sometimes you might come into the marina and work. Sometimes you might run over and help the cleaning crew. Is it kind of just, we're going to go where help is needed?
We try to work as a team. Obviously, if you've came on board as a housekeeper and you like housekeeping, well, you're probably not going to transition very well into a carpentry job or some kind of job out on the marina, but we love to work as a team, and yes, we love to see our employees help others out, because quite frankly, a lot of times the housekeepers are overwhelmed and they need some assistance from the marina crew in repairing some things or doing some things that help them, and likewise, sometimes the fuel dock is so busy with boats waiting to get in to fuel up, and we have to pull employees from other parts of the marina to help out on the front deck or the fuel dock. When the 50 boat rental fleet is checking in the morning to go out on their day, or they're returning the boats in the evening, those 2 times of day is very hectic and very busy, and we need all the help we can get during those peak summer months. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Even us being so small down here, it's crazy. Morning and evening's crazy. Yeah. So I couldn't imagine the size you guys have and how many boats. It's got to be insane.
It's very challenging at times. Yes.
And then you said you have 10 houseboats. How many cabins do you guys have?
We have 26 rental units, and now they vary in size from 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, 4 bedroom, and then we have some larger chalets, and we have 3 large chalets that sleep 12 to 14 people each, and we're actually under construction on 2 new chalets. These will be called the Hemlock cabins. The first cabin we built, or chalet we built, obviously the cabins that were there when we bought Sunset Dock were built out of red cedar logs. Red cedar's a native of this area, and the Harrison family took a native resource and built those cedar cabins, and the cabins that we've built, or chalets as I call them because they're larger, well, the first one we built, we put sassafras on the outside, and so it's called Sassafras Point. It sits out on the point overlooking the lake. And the second one we built kind of set in a hollow, and we call it Sassafras Hollow. We covered it in sassafras. The last one we built is called the Oaks, and we covered it in red oak lumber and board and batten style. And now these 2 chalets we're building are twin chalets. They sit side by side, and they're going to be covered in hemlock, which is also a hardwood. and native hardwood of this area. So the public likes to rent those chalets and learn a little bit about the history of the native wood and hardwood that's used in constructing those. And we think these twin hemlocks will be very popular too.
How many have you guys built over the years?
These two will be will be our sixth structure that we've built, lodging structure that we've built. And like I say, the cedar log, there were 20 rental units that were already there when we bought it, and they were built out of the red cedar logs that were native resource of the area when the Harrisons started developing Sunset Dock Fishing Camp.
And they started, the marina itself started in the 40s, is that right? When they first...
Yes, the marina dates back to the origin of Dale Hollow Lake. And Dale Hollow Lake, I think I've got my facts straight. I listened to one of your podcasts earlier on, and you all were talking about the start date of the Dale Hollow Dam, and I believe Dale Hollow Dam was started in 43. And I believe it was halted due to World War II. And then I believe it was completed in 1946. So a lot of people go with the establishment date for Dale Hollow is 1943 when they broke ground, and some people go with 1946. But there was a little dock there when the lake first started, or the lake was first impounded. And I'm not sure if you know how, why are there 15 commercial marinas on Dale Hollow?
I do not know.
How's that number arrived at? A lot of people say, can I start one over there? But the way the marinas started in the 40s and 50s, when the Army Corps of Engineers built, Dale Hollow is one of 10 reservoirs in the Nashville district. A big major expansion of dams and reservoirs occurred in the 40s and 50s. And recreation was not a reason for these lakes to be built. It was flood control, it was navigation, it was hydroelectric power. And so these dams and reservoirs were built, and lo and behold, some enterprising entrepreneurs went down to the shoreline and started selling night crawlers or worms or bait, and started renting plywood boats people to go out and fish. And then it evolved into motors, and at some point the U.S. government said, we've got people conducting business on these reservoirs. We need to license them. We need to establish a formal process of leasing. We want recreation to be, even though recreation was not envisioned as a purpose for these lakes, we want recreation to be a vital part, a vital mission of the Army Corps of Engineers. So, that's what that was the origin of the U.S. Army Commercial Concession Program, and that's what these marinas have a contract called a commercial concession. Every marina owner on Dale Hollow dates back to some entrepreneur that was conducting business on the shoreline in an unofficial manner. And so the Army Corps said, we're going to let you continue to operate business, but we're going to license you. We're going to establish a contract with you. We want you to continue to serve the public and rent boats and sell bait and tackle and so forth. And so that's how these marinas all originated. And most reservoirs have a moratorium on the number of marinas or concessions that will be there. Very rarely do you see the Army Corps lease a new site for a marina. And Dale Hollow has, with 15 marinas, Dale Hollow has the highest concentration of commercial marinas than any reservoir in the Nashville district.
And speaking of the 15 marinas, you actually started the Marina Association a couple years ago, did you not?
Well, it's been more than a couple of years ago. In 1998, are you talking about the Tennessee Marina Association or the Dale Hollow?
The Dale Hollow Marina Association.
No, the Dale Hollow Marina Association started long, long ago, way before I became a marina owner on Dale Hollow. The marina owners, worked jointly with each other back in the, in the 60s and 70s and 80s, and I didn't come along as a marina owner, like I say, until 1993. But I was a part of starting and organizing the Tennessee Marina Association in 1998.
That might be the one I'm thinking of.
In 1998, 3 marina owners got together in Cookeville, Tennessee, and we decided there was a need for a statewide organization to help boost and benefit the marina industry in Tennessee. And so we that association has grown to well over 100 marinas. Actually, 200 marinas in the state of Tennessee are served by the Tennessee Marina Association. But on a yearly basis, somewhere around 100 marinas are paying members of that association and get together once a year for a marina conference and trade show where we share ideas and share best practices and try to help each other be just a little better next year than we were this year.
I love that.
Yeah.
And then one of the other things Sunset I know has been known for in the past couple of years is you guys had a music video recorded on your marina.
Yes.
Did Luke Bryan reach out to you? Did you, hey, Luke, I've got the perfect place for you to put a music video?
Yeah. Well, neither one of those was a scenario, but Luke Bryan has a best friend by the name of Michael Monaco, and I have to give Michael props and credit for getting that music video done. Michael is actually a videographer. He has his own filming company called Fly High Films, and Michael has become a fan of Dale Hollow Lake, and he comes and spends time at Dale Hollow, and he kind of fell in love with Sunset Dock and the neon sign and the history of Sunset, and he actually bought property and built a home near Sunset, and he calls it his favorite place on earth. And every time I see him, he says, "This, Tom, this is my favorite place on earth." And for a couple of years, he kept telling me, "I'm going to get my friend Luke to do a video up here." And quite frankly, I said, yeah.
Yeah, why would you believe that?
Yeah, and every time I'd see him, he'd keep telling me, I'm still going to get Luke to do a video. Going to get Luke to do a video. And of course, one day I got a call. I believe it was in November, and I don't even remember how many years ago it's been now, but I know the call was in November, and Michael said, "Tom, you're not going to believe this." I said, "What?" He said, "Luke's producing a new single called Sunrise, Sunburn, Sunset, Repeat." He said, "It's perfect location for Sunset." And he said, I'm going to make a pitch to Luke to do the music video there." And so I said, "Okay, Mike, I still believe you're going to do this." And I never heard from him until about May of the next year. And I got a call from Michael, and he says, "Tom, Luke chose my proposal. We're going to do a video there at Sunset." I said, "Well, great. I always held out hope you would, Michael." I said, "When you going to do it?" And he said, "Well, next Tuesday." And so I think he called me on a Friday, and he said next Tuesday, and he said keep that under your hat. He said, word will get out when Luke's tour bus arrives, but he said keep that under your hat. And So really, honestly, I still had some doubt until a video team rolled in there on Monday, and they started taking video in advance of Luke's arrival. And how do you prepare for something like that? I don't claim to be a country music expert or a music expert. I listen to music in the background, but I don't get to know who the artists are and who sang the song and who wrote the song and all of that. But I do like music, but I don't claim to be. So I started researching, just how big is this Luke Bryan? And when I saw how many records he'd sold and how big he was, and I said, this is a pretty big deal. This is a pretty big deal. We need to get ready for this. But I didn't know how to get ready for it without telling everybody that Luke Bryan's coming to town, So I'd been asked to keep it under my hat. So I talked to my wife, Angela, and I said, what are we going to do? And we talked about it. And we decided that, I guess you'd call it a little white lie. We told the crew that the Army Corps of Engineers were coming for an inspection next week, which they do every year. Yeah. They inspect their facilities, and we said they've got a new inspector, and we hear that they are really tough. They're really tough. So we need to put a spit shine on our facilities and make sure everything looks good. When you know your facility is going to be in a music video,
you're top notch.
You don't know what's going to be seen that may not be attractive or this, that, and the other. So and we'd never done that before. So our crew went to work, and we didn't know what part of the facility they'd be on because our facility is fairly large, and so we got everything. Our crew always does a good job keeping everything, neat and safe and clean. But everybody went to some extra effort. And when I got word the tour bus was approaching and definitely, in fact, this was going to happen, I got the crew together and told them that I got to come clean. There's a guest arriving here shortly, and his name's Luke Bryan, and I remember one of the housekeepers, she started shaking and squalling and shaking. Evidently, she was a huge Luke Bryan fan, and I really thought she was going to pass out knowing that Luke was going to be on the property. But that's how all that occurred, and it ended up being a very successful video. And what is it, 3, 4, 5 years later now? I don't even remember when it first was published, but we have so many people show up and want to take pictures in front of the neon sign, or they want to go up to the Island View Overlook where he did some of the filming, and they take pictures up there, and so the video, we feel like Dale Hollow Lake was on the map before the Luke Bryan video, but folks from all over the world got to know about Dale Hollow Lake when they did that video.
Has anyone else reached out to try to record another one?
No, but I think my friend Michael Monaco's got something else in the works, and I told him that I doubted him once, that I doubted he would ever do a music video, but he has a very big project that he's working on and he's got in his mind, and I told him, I said, I'm not going to doubt you again. I believe you're going to do it. Whatever you say you're going to do, you're going to do it.
You spill any more of the beans on that, or is it kind of?
I don't know much about it other than he has a title and he has it'll be, rather than a video, I think it'll be more of a documentary movie or something, something along those lines. But that's about all I know at this point.
That'd be awesome. I don't know if you're being 100% honest with me, but I respect it, so I won't ask any more questions. But that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Not only if it's just for you guys or if it's for the whole lake, that's amazing. Yeah. Or whatever his vision is.
Well, Michael's a good guy and got a lot of good ideas.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah. Bringing Luke Bryan to Sunset, that's a pretty good idea. Yeah. I think it's also funny that you really didn't know who Luke Bryan was, as big as the story as he is.
Well, I knew the name and I knew some songs. What is the one that hunting and fishing and loving every
Yep.
minute, loving every day. I knew he sung that song. That was one when it came on the radio that I liked to hear, and I wouldn't have claimed that I was a fan or that I knew much about Luke before he came to Sunset, but I quickly researched and found out that he's quite the country music superstar, and we were another great blessing we've had over the years is that exposure of our facility and that video being done there. Yeah.
And then one thing I've learned, I've seen, I should say, about you personally is you like to actually branch out a little bit. Like I said, you helped with the Marina Association. You also helped start the Eagle Cam. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's the thought process behind that? Why would a marina owner be like, we need to watch the birds? We do.
Well, again, living and working on the lake brings so many blessings. And one of them, I've always been an American bald eagle fan. Mm-hmm. We had 3 soaring over the marina yesterday, and it never gets old to me. It never, some things you become exposed to and familiar with kind of becomes old hat to you and routine, but seeing a majestic bald eagle fly or catch a fish or fight. They do fight, believe it or not. They do chase off crows, and I got to see one time an American bald eagle being chased by a Canadian goose, actually. And the bald eagle got tired of flying away from this Canadian goose and started chasing the Canadian goose. So I've seen some neat things with eagles on the lake, and when we had a nest that was identified in close proximity to both Sunset and Eastport marinas. Well, I floated the idea in a Dale Hollow Lake Marina Association meeting one time. I said, we need to get an Eagle Cam going. We need to get a camera on that nest. And, of course, everybody was in agreement that would be a good thing. And we brought in Twin Lakes Telephone Company. They thought it was a great idea. We brought in the Army Corps of Engineers. They thought it was a great idea. And so between the Dale Hollow Lake Marina Association, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and Twin Lakes Telephone Company, Twin Lakes TV now, they offer TV, it was a cooperative effort to get that done. And we did have to get approval through the Army Corps. And because the Army Corps was instrumental in restoring the American bald eagle population to Dale Hollow Lake, they were involved in a hatching program that brought the eagle back from pretty close to extinction. And when the pesticides and DDT destroyed the eagle population, the Army Corps was so instrumental in bringing the population of eagles back to this area that they were very much in favor of having a camera on one of the Dale Hollow Lake eagles' nest. And so the Army Corps sometimes can be a little slow and cumbersome dealing with all the regulations they have to deal with, but that Eagle Cam was approved fairly quickly because the Army Corps was really excited about the project. And so the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service gave us the guidelines that we had to go with to be near or around a nest. There's only a 2-month window in the summer when you can be near one. That's when they're away from the nest. They're out teaching the young to fly. So we had to coordinate with Twin Lakes TV, the Army Corps of Engineers, and the Marina Association. And it was just a great example of teamwork and cooperative work to where, nobody cared who got the credit. Nobody was looking for any recognition. Everybody just thought it was a great idea to bring a Dale Hollow eagle nest to live TV and live internet where kids, and just about everywhere I go, someone in one of the counties surrounding Dale Hollow Lake, and sometimes even out in the state of Tennessee, will say that, my kids are anxiously watching that eagle's nest, and we got 2 eggs and we can't wait for them to hatch, and so it's really rewarding to see an educational tool be used so widely, and not just around Dale Hollow. There's I think the Eagle Cam now has well over 50,000 followers, and the I have to hand it to a lady by the name of Darlene Neely. Darlene has been monitoring and answering the Eagle Cam Facebook page for a few years, and she routinely answers inquiries from around the world, Canada, Australia. People are watching these eagles all over the world, and are fascinated by seeing the mating cycle, the life cycle, the eggs, the hatching, and the fledging when the eagles fledge the nest, and it's just eagles are a great example of faithful matrimony. They mate for life.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They mate for life. They don't take another mate unless tragedy happens to their mate, and they are very faithful in raising the kids. If you watch the nest, the father takes about as much equal time setting on the eggs and changing of the guard, we call it, while the mother and father cooperate and switch out. Sometimes they'll fuss at each other and squawk at each other, but they do share the parenting skills, and they share the teaching the eagles to fly, and so it's just been a great blessing. That project has touched so many people. I've got a good friend by the name of Gib Taylor, and Gib's 96 years old, and almost every day he sends me a text message with a picture of his TV and the eagles on it, and he thanks me for being a part of getting that going, because he watches it every single day.
I love that.
Yeah, and so a very rewarding project.
Oh yeah. And then are you guys still sole managers of it, or?
Well, it's a cooperative agreement. Twin Lakes TV, we could not have done that project without them. They had the technology. They were behind it, and they still to this day they support it with equipment. Mickey Ledbetter at Willow Grove, a phenomenal technical mind, and he and his staff have put the YouTube channel together, the Eagle Cam YouTube channel, and done a phenomenal job there with Mickey and Christy, his secretary. They've been a big part. I know I'm going to leave somebody out, but it's still to this day it's a cooperative effort. No, it couldn't be done if one of the spokes fell out of the wheel. The Eagle Cam would falter, because it takes so many people saying, I believe it's a good thing. Let's keep it going. And the Army Corps of Engineers continues to support it. Twin Lakes, it's untelling how much time and manpower and effort they put in it, because they climb the tree in the summer every year if any adjustments need to be made. When lightning struck the tree and destroyed the camera and destroyed the nest, once the eagles rebuilt, and they rebuilt real close to the existing camera, and fortunately, so Twin Lakes jumped in and done that. And again, Mickey Ledbetter and his team spent countless hours with the YouTube channel and facilitating the feed, and the technology is way above my head. So those people that fly at a higher altitude than I do, I let them take care of the technology, because it's phenomenal how many people got behind this and supported it, and do so today. So yeah, the marinas are a big part of that support network, but you can't do it with just the marinas. You got Twin Lakes, you got you got other people, Darlene Neely, volunteers, and just a lot of people, and we're thankful for every one of them.
You're a big component of community, aren't you? Like, we're all in this together. We're all gonna come together and help each other out. It doesn't seem like you're at all about that. I'm at Sunset. This is me.
Everything is a joint effort, I think, in life, and it takes more than just one person or one business or one entity to do anything. And as far as tourism promotion, I am big on regionality or regional tourism. I support the Upper Cumberland Tourism Association. I support the Statewide Tourism Association. Recently branched out and have become a tourism advocate in both Kentucky and Tennessee. I have interest in a marina on Lake Cumberland now, so my partner and I started a brand new marina over there, a marina at Rowena on Lake Cumberland, and I don't believe that we can get very far in promoting our state, our region, our county, our community if we're just looking at taking care of ourselves and our own business. I believe if we help each other, and fortunately the marinas on Del Hollow have always helped each other through tragedies, through difficult times, so yes, to answer your question, I'm real big on we're all in this together. We're all in the same boat. We need to row together. If we're rowing different directions, we're not going to get far. So I believe that's what it takes.
Even outside of the marinas, you guys even, I remember this from high school because I love the fact that it was a thing. You guys actually give scholarships out for high school students, whether that be, if I'm not wrong, there's like 3 different types or 2 different types.
There's 2 different types of scholarships that the Marina Association awards each year, an academic scholarship and a fishing team scholarship. The Marina Association was very much an advocate of getting high school fishing started in all of our counties surrounding Del Hollow Lake. And I think most every county now, with the exception of maybe one, has high school fishing within their school. And so the Del Hollow Lake Marina Association awards a $500 scholarship annually to an academic student that applies for that. Not just we do one in every county, Pickett County, Overton County, Clay County, Cumberland County, Clinton County. We do a scholarship to an applicant that applies. And then if that high school has a fishing team, we award another $500 scholarship to a member of the fishing team that applies for that scholarship. So, yeah, we're very much an advocate of getting young people into fishing and recreational boating and continuing this industry that we don't want society to forget about recreational boating with all these electronic devices we've got. You can sit at home in your recliner and fish on a computer screen, or you can go out and fish Del Hollow Lake, and we want to get young people started early.
Even when I was in high school, because I was part of the group in Overton County that tried to help get high school fishing started, and you guys were behind us all the way. I remember even when we went and talked to the school board, like we had Richard, I believe Richard was there, and he was backing us up from the Marina Association, and it was amazing. And then senior year, I know 2 of my friends got scholarships. One for the academic side through the Marina, and then one of them through the fishing team. And it was amazing. I didn't know it was a thing. Even working here, I didn't know it was a thing. So I thought it was awesome, and I love that you guys started that. Not many people know about it either, because even my parents didn't know it was a thing, which I just loved the idea, and I just wanted to get it out there. And then I was also going to ask, do you, being the biggest marina, do you feel like there's any pressure compared to other marinas just because you are the biggest? Not from them, but just from the public. Do you feel any pressure being like, we are the biggest? We feel like a lot of people come here the most.
Well, Yeah, I guess there's some pressure there but I don't think it would be any different regardless of what size our marina is. I don't feel like it would be any different if we were a mid-sized marina or smaller marina. You know, when I'm involved in a Marina Association with marinas from all over Kentucky and Tennessee and even nationwide. I attended a marina event in Washington, D.C. back in May of last year. There was boaters and marina owners, you know, from around the country, and there's such large marinas out there, so much larger than Sunset. Maybe not on Del Hollow Lake, but in other places that I really don't try to compete from a size-wise basis, but from a reputation and maintaining a certain level of service. Yeah, I feel pressure, but I don't think it's the typical pressure that you would feel. It's just a desire to always have a high level of service and a good reputation and a good name. You know, even the Bible advocates having a good name and a good reputation, and so we don't feel pressure to maintain a certain level of size or whatever, but we do put pressure on ourselves and take pride in being, having a good level of service. And it hurts when we fall short. We're human and we make mistakes and we fall below our expected level of service sometimes, and that's when it really hurts. I don't mind the pressure of maintaining a certain level of service, but I really, really regret when we may disappoint a customer that was expecting something better and we fell short of their expectations. We don't like to fall short of customers' expectations, but we really don't like to fall short of our own expectations because we try to set the bar high.
I think it's great. Yeah. And I think that's more of what my question was, so I may have misworded it, but that's kind of what I meant.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you have to keep that standard to yourself?
Oh,
just because
absolutely.
you've built that business so high, you want to keep it here.
Absolutely.
And then I got a couple questions just for you, just in general.
Okay.
First one would be, obviously we're on Del Hollow Lake. It's a great place to vacation, great place to go and hang out. But personally, not counting Del Hollow, where's your favorite spot to vacation? Where do you like to get away from, obviously, this beautiful place? But everyone wants to get away.
Yeah. You know, I admire folks that have chosen a place that they like to go, and they go every single year, because we have so many of those people that do that at Sunset, and I am just so admirable of those people that like to come. But I like to go different places when I get an opportunity to have some time off. And I think one of the biggest things my wife and I have found we have in common is we love to drive and we love to see the country. We had a vacation planned last September that we were going to fly to Arizona and stay in one place for a week, which a lot of people do, and we've done before, but we found ourselves after one day not being satisfied with where we were at. And so we changed our airline tickets to one way and took credit for the flight home, and we rented a car and we went all over the state of Arizona. We drove back through New Mexico and Texas, and we'd stop in one of the states and spend the night, and we just enjoy, seeing different things. And this, the Lord's blessed this country so enormously that there's so much to see that I hate to limit myself to one place. But I don't want all those folks that like coming to Del Hollow to
stop coming. Yeah, no, absolutely not.
There's nothing else out there but Del Hollow now. You need to keep coming.
No, that's the vacation spot for sure. Yeah. But you've got to have somewhere that you like to go to. Well, and then traveling around, I think, is a great answer, because that's also like, you like to go see the other lakes. You like to go see the other places. Mm-hmm. I also am on the side of I don't like going to one spot and sitting down for a long time. I get bored. Like I do. But again, keep coming to Del Hollow and doing that. That's fine. We're never going to be upset with that. Yeah. But I kind of love that answer. Yeah. Like, you want to see places. You want to explore things.
Right.
I like it. Yeah. I think we're close to the end. So I thank you for coming on. I know people want to know a lot about Sunset, and I don't know a better person to ask than the face of Sunset.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the invitation.
I'm glad you do. Is there anything you want to end out on? Anything, questions for me, or anything you can think of that you might want to touch before we end out?
No, I think this is a new venture, Del Hollow Podcast.
Del Hollow Lake Podcast.
Del Hollow Lake Podcast. I'm just, thank you for organizing it, starting it. Richard here at Eastport for supporting it, and I've watched an episode or two, and I look forward to watching all of them, and look forward to what you have in store next.
It'll be a little weird seeing yourself on here, trust me. It's weird when I go through and look at it.
I'm sure it will be.
Yeah. But I appreciate it, Tom. We'll end it there, and I don't know what we're going to do next, but I really do appreciate you coming on. That way we can get a little information on Sunset. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Bailey.
We're good.
All right.
Wasn't too bad, was it?
No, it seemed like, man, time flies.
Yeah, it was an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah.